Oh my gosh, can you hear me? Someone's gotta say something, at least for this, if they can hear me. Hi! Okay, so I have a laptop and my phone going, so if you see me, like, looking in one direction or the other, that's why. Someone's gotta give me a heads up, though, if you can't hear me, because I'm just using laptop and phone speakers. I forgot one of my attachments for my actual mic. Whoops. Like I said, technical difficulties. All right, I'm gonna give it 30 seconds and I'll probably get started. Instagram's telling me to hang on. I'm like, okay, cool. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta adjust this a little bit. There we go. Learning curves, guys. Learning curves. Oof. Alrighty. So today's video is going to be about, depending on how fast I talk when I'm nervous, probably about 20 to 30 minutes. Oh my goodness. Things that you can probably use: yoga mat, some water maybe. I always have props like blocks around, just because they come handy when it comes to certain poses, but if you don't like to use props, that's up to you. And like, if you want yoga blocks, pillows, blankets, anything really, whatever works. As long as you can be comfortable in the poses, especially the ones that we hang out in for a little bit longer, you're golden. Alrighty. I see some kind of notification on my phone, so I'll get up and read that, and after that we'll get started. Oh, hi. You joined on the other stream too. That's all I saw. Cool. All right. To get started, we're just going to find ourselves in a comfortable seated position. We're going to do a little bit of intentional breathing. So I like to put one hand over my heart and the other one on my stomach. You're always welcome to put your hands on your lap or your hands on the mat or on your head, wherever feels comfortable for you. All right, so beginning here, we're going to breathe in for 4 and out for 5. Usually my goal. I'm going to think about filling up the entirety of our chest. So starting kind of filling up from your stomach all the way up to your collarbones. As you breathe in. And out. And in. And out. And in. And out. All right, well, that definitely helps solve some of my nerves there. Beginning at the top of our mat in Tadasana, our mountain pose. I'm going to start on this side of my mat. If you ever notice me kind of shifting this way, you don't have to. It's just so that you can see me, because if I'm standing this way, you might not be able to tell what I'm doing. So beginning at the top of our mat in mountain pose, reach our arms overhead, grasping our fingers, but keeping our index fingers pointed, leaning over to the left. Okay, maybe blocking your ears off with your arms here a little bit. All good. Coming back up to center. Maybe changing the way that we interlace our fingers. Going over to the right. And back up to center. From here, moving into Vrikshasana or tree pose. Maybe first shaking out our ankles a little bit, lifting that left foot, just giving it a good couple circles in one direction, the other direction. Finding your balance here a little bit. Switching feet, moving to the right side. Couple circles there. All right, moving back to our left foot. When it comes to tree pose, we're going to make sure that we're putting our left foot either on our right calf or our right thigh, never pushing against the knee because that can injure the joint. So allowing yourself to shift your balance here, and then placing your left foot where you'd like to place it, gripping the mat with your right leg, really pushing your left foot against your right leg and vice versa. Bringing your hands to heart center or overhead if that feels more comfortable for you. And just hold here for a sec. Keeping the hips kind of level here. I know sometimes you have a tendency to lift one when this is happening. Just keeping it balanced. Hanging out. All right, and shifting feet here. If you ever fall out of a pose, it's really no big deal. Just put your foot back or maybe keep it down beside you. Kind of work your way into it. Balance is one of those things that takes practice and good days, bad days. So lift the right leg, come back into this pose here as well. I also find that one of my legs is always a little bit stronger than the other one. So my left ankle is a little bit funky when it comes to these poses. All right, coming into our forward fold or Uttanasana, bending down. Keeping the knees bent here if that's what feels comfortable for you. Really want to think about having your chest on your thighs. It doesn't matter so much as to whether or not your knees are bent. All right, hands down to the mat, lowering down to the floor. Coming into Varmanasana or tabletop position here. We're going to think about warming up our wrists for a second here. I like to have my fingers spread out, hands underneath my shoulders. Start off with, we're just going to make little circles around our hands. Really just feeling that out one way and the other. And lifting the hands and placing it so the fingertips face the outside of the mat. Gently placing them down. Repeating that action there. One direction. And the other. This one we'll be gentle with, but placing the fingertips so that they face backwards towards you here. Maybe here you just want to sway a little bit side to side, front and back. If the circles are too much. A bit of a stretch, and if you ever feel pain in your wrists or anywhere else, you always have to just stop where you are and not injure yourself. Finally, placing the fingers so they face each other. Repeating that circle just one more time. All right, putting the wrists back in the right direction here. Fingers spread, maybe having the wrists out turned slightly. Hands underneath your shoulders. Hips over top of your knees and about hip width distance apart. We're going to move into Vajrayasana, Vipalasana, or cat-cows. So here you can either have your toes tucked or have them just flat against your mat. As we inhale, we want to think about rounding the spine, tucking the tailbone, and dropping your head here. And exhaling to arch the spine, lifting the head and tailbone towards the sky. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. From here, we're going to move into Vasisthasana, or a side plank. All right, this is a little complicated. I'm going to keep my right knee down as I open up my left leg, open up my left arm. You're welcome to put your left, meet your right leg to meet your left. This just makes it easier for me to talk at the same time. I'm going to open up into a modified Kamakasana or wild thing by taking my left foot back behind me, opening up my chest. We're coming back down into tabletop position and switching to the other side here. Taking the right foot up behind me, and moving up into my side plank here. Finding that balance. Taking the right foot out behind us and opening through the right side here. And back down to tabletop position. Maybe grabbing some water here before we move into our next phase. Whew. I'm not used to talking and moving at the same time. Oh my goodness, I record all my audios ahead of time. Alrighty. Coming back to our mat, back into our tabletop position. We're thinking about pushing our hips back in space, tucking the toes here, and moving into downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Shavasana. As it's our first one of the day, keep the knees bent, maybe pedaling up the feet a little bit here. Really just thinking about driving through your shoulders and pushing your hips back in space. Before I'm going to take my left foot forward to the front of my mat, touching my hands here. Pivoting my foot out slightly, give myself more balance as we come into a high lunge here. And I set myself up to be facing the wrong direction, but that's fine. We're going to move from here into warrior two, dropping that back ankle. From here, extending the arms out long beside you and opening towards the left side of the room. Okay, so the right side of the room is the left side of your body. Straightening that front leg and dropping into Trikonasana or triangle pose. Placing the hand either kind of towards the foot or as high up as you feel comfortable. Before we float back down into downward facing dog. Take a breath here. We're bringing the right foot forward and repeating on this side here. Moving up into our high lunge. Dropping that left ankle and moving into warrior two, dropping in that right knee here. Opening towards the side of the room. Bring our gaze over top of our right fingertips. We're straightening the right leg. Dropping into Trikonasana or triangle pose. And spiraling back down to downward facing dog. Alrighty. From here, we're going to lift our left leg towards the back of the room, pointing the toes, opening the hips, and allowing your hips to open here, left side wide open. We're bringing our left knee to left hand, left foot to right hand, and coming into our half pigeon pose. Or Ardha Kapotasana. From here, keeping that right leg elbow behind you nice and straight. Taking a deep breath in to lengthen the spine, and then dropping over that left leg. Having blocks in your elbows here can always be helpful. Maybe placing one under your pelvis, just to give you more space there, if it's too much of a stretch. And just hanging out here. Alrighty, come out of this pose, I'm going to tuck my right toes under, place my hands back down on the mat, and slowly push back to downward facing dog. As we repeat it on the right side here, lifting up the right foot, pushing it towards the back of the room, opening up towards the right side here, and then coming back down into our half pigeon pose. The goal is to eventually have your foot here at about a 90-degree angle, but tucking it backwards can kind of alleviate some of that stretching if it's feeling like it's too much for you. This is another pose where you're going to notice a little different on both sides. Coming back up, lengthening through the spine, dropping down onto our elbows here if that feels comfortable for you. I'm just hanging out here for a minute. Alrighty, sitting back up, I'm just going to roll myself onto my butt here and coming into a wide-legged forward fold or Upavista Konasana. Placing the feet out as far as you'd like to. Maybe grabbing a block and putting it under your elbows to give you more space to lean down on. Keeping your feet flexed. Sitting straight in the spine, maybe keeping your knees bent slightly if that feels better for you. Taking a deep breath in, bringing the arms up. And exhaling to drop down towards the floor here. Hanging out here for a second, really feeling that stretch. Like I said before, if it ever gets to be too much, back off. You never want to be pushing yourself beyond what you can handle here. It should be a comfortable stretch, not a painful one. All right, coming back up, we are going to bring our feet with us towards our pelvis here, into Baddha Konasana, our butterfly pose. Bring your feet as close to the pelvis as you feel comfortable with. Maybe placing blocks underneath your knees, if that feels better for you. Maybe fluttering the knees out a bit here, really embodying that butterfly part. I like to bring my thumbs to the soles of my feet, just giving myself a quick little massage there. Really appreciating all that my feet do for me, kind of carrying me through life here. Like I said, I'm really not used to talking while I do yoga. I gotta work on that. Alrighty, so I'm gonna extend my left leg out long, keeping my right foot in that same position as we come into Trianga, Mukha Paschimottanasana, also known as just a one-legged forward fold. And extending your spine once again upwards as we drop down towards the leg here. Placing your hands wherever it feels comfortable. Maybe even putting like a blanket between your chest and your leg. Give yourself more space so that's what feels comfortable for you. Just really feeling that stretch, keeping that left foot flexed here. And switching legs. Bring that left foot back towards you. Reaching up to the sky, extend the spine. And exhaling to drop down over that right leg. All right, coming back up, we're just going to move on to our backs in Shavasana, close off for today. And lay down just to show you what I mean, and then I'm going to sit back up because it's a lot easier to get my voice to go to you if I'm facing you than it is if I'm laying down. Laying on our backs here, feet are the same width as the mat, arms open with your palms either facing up or facing down towards the floor. Really just letting it all go, letting yourself melt into the floor here. You're welcome to stay in this position for as long as feels comfortable, for as long as you have. Just melt right into the floor. Who needs to do anything this Saturday? Thanks so much for joining me this morning for my first ever live stream. I'm so excited to have this opportunity to just work in this gorgeous space. This is Beyond Boundaries. It's in downtown Winnipeg. It's a gorgeous photography studio that I work out of that I'm so thankful to have access to. There's so many things to be grateful for. All right, so I'm probably just gonna close it off here for today. Like I said, you just stay there. Stay in that space for as long as you can. And then I hope you guys have a really good weekend, a really good week to come. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.